Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling, and I'm your host. So there was a revelation in House of Commons today, a shocking revelation that most of us already knew that the carbon tax was costing us more than it was doing. What we didn't realize is that it was costing us about $30 billion a year, which is about $2,000 a person. Now, the Liberals, of course, tried to censor this report, right? First, they tried to say that it didn't exist and that the Parliamentary Budgetary Officer was wrong with his math. Let's establish something right now. The Parliamentary Budgetary Officer only does math. The whole department are just economists. They're not political science majors. They're not lawyers. Although I'm sure the building does have access to a couple of lawyers. The fact of the matter is that they are straight up numbers people. So when you hear the Liberal Party try to diminish them, try to dismiss them, it's really telling how far down the Liberals will go, because the Liberals in their very next breath will tell you, because they have an education, that they know what you don't. They will always try to appeal to authority on anything that they talk about. So today, Pierre Poilievre let him have it about the truth of the carbon tax. And I think that between this truth and the truth of the traders, it's time that this Liberal government get out of the way. However, before I get into it, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this channel with your friends. I really want to grow this channel. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I only left Stephen Guilbeault talk one time because he just says the same thing over and over again. It's all about how 8 out of 10 Canadians, which is a lie. It's all about how, well, everything he says the first time is everything he says the second time. And I would like you to pay attention to the lapel pin that he's wearing, which is the globalist United Nations pin that they put out there for their 12 goals or whatever, right? It's important to pay attention, because when you see a MP or a member of any government wearing a lapel pin, that's like, me and you wearing a t-shirt that says, support whoever. Okay, let's check it out.
The economic vandalism and carbon tax cover-up of this government has now been exposed because of a relentless conservative pressure. The government finally leaked out to the CBC the economic hit Canada will take, originally reported at $20 billion. With inflation, it's $30 billion a year, or almost $2,000 for every single family in Canada, something they tried to silence the Parliamentary Budget Officer from exposing. How can we believe anything this Minister of Environment has to say on taxes?
Speaker, as my honourable colleague and friend, the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, often says in this House, the Conservative Party of Canada are entitled to their opinion, not their own sets of facts. Mr. Speaker, and the facts are clear. 8 out of 10 Canadian families get more money back from carbon pricing than it cost them. And not only that, Mr. Speaker, but the data also shows that carbon pricing is already responsible for the reduction in pollution level by 25 million tons. That's half of our emission reduction so far, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
It's not my numbers, it's his numbers.
Exactly.
His own department just released data moments ago showing that the real cost will be $30 billion in hit to our economy. This is above and beyond the direct cost at the pumps and on people's heating bills. Now, when the Parliamentary Budget Officer said this, he denied it. Right. He tried to gag the Parliamentary Budget Officer and shut him up completely. Why did this minister try to hide the facts and punish a legitimate, hardworking public servant who tried to tell the truth? That 8 out of 10 fact does not include the $30 billion of economic costs. That is $2,000 of additional costs for every single family. When we exposed that, he denied it. When the Parliamentary Budget Officer reported on it, they attacked him and tried to gag him. Mr. Speaker, that minister is not worth the economic vandalism. We cannot believe a word he says about taxes. He needs to resign. When will the Prime Minister fire him?
Absolutely. I left that in there at the end with the Conservatives saying, "Oh, come on, stand up," because the other guy answered the question, the natural resources guy, He always does this with his hands. Of course, he didn't say anything differently, and he still had to, even though it was the same message, he still had to read it off of paper. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think that we need to see a couple of things that are very, very glaring. That the Stephen Guilbeault did not speak to the report that came out. All he said was what they've been saying since the very beginning, 8 out of 10, and the environmental air is coming down. So now they're going to say, well, the air is getting, it's impossible in my head. If you think in your mind for a second that you're in a house and the person in the basement is having a cigarette, does that mean the person upstairs is okay from that cigarette? Because aren't we always talking about how on one side of the restaurant, one side of the bar, you can't smoke. You can't even smoke within 9 meters of a government door, a cigarette. Based on the idea of osmosis, right, of it spreading through the air. So how can China and India be spewing up stuff and it's not coming into my air? How can we know that the entire planet is connected, right? By their own words, they say that. So how can, no matter what we clean up, going to stop anybody else? All right, now I know you might have heard that before, but what it annoys me is when he tries to say, oh, like just like 6 months ago, they had no idea what they were targeting, and now they're saying, oh, we're at half our goals. Which is really them just trying to say, it's okay that it's costing us money. It's okay that we fed you a load of crap. It's okay that we lied to you, as long as we can get this carbon out of the air. Now, that's the desperation move. That's the Hail Mary that they're throwing up. Now, I tell you right now that there is plenty of ways to clean the air, clean the carbon out of the air. They just discovered a way with sugar, which is astounding in my head. Like, I'm not done reading it, but it's pretty neat. It appears that when you run carbon through sugar, it drops a molecule onto the sugar, and it allows the carbon to come out the other side cleaner. Instead of it being dioxide, it's monoxide, which is a different thing, right? If you understand that kind of stuff. So, I mean, sugar is endlessly renewable. We could be making sugar filters all over the world, right? And then I don't know what to do with leftovers, but I haven't finished reading it. The point that I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter what Stephen Guilbeault says to you that it's doing. They lied. Not only did they lie, they censored us, and then they hid it, and they hid the press. They have done nothing but hide. And if you're so sure of yourself, if everything you say is so true, you should have nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing at all. It's like let me put it to you in a way that maybe you can understand. If you go to reach for your boyfriend's phone and he's like, no, I'm not letting you look at my phone, do you immediately assume that it's okay, or do you immediately assume that he's hiding something? Well, isn't it the same thing? I'm not going to let the press tell you what I want to hear. I'm not going to let this report be released. And when the report has been released, it turns out that the conservatives have been telling the truth the whole time. So now it's censorship. If you go to this liberal minister, because don't forget, Stephen Guilbeault has a region, right? He has a part of the country that voted for him. If you go to his office and ask him for help, is he going to censor you if he doesn't like the answer? Because that's what it seems like. Is he one of the ministers that's working with foreign governments? Isn't he always traveling around the world trying to get people to get on side? Isn't he always trying to support China? So now we got traitors in our midst, and we got people who are lying to us about the programs that they put forward. And on top of it costing everybody $2,000 more than they're claiming, and $30 billion shrinking in the GDP, which, Freeland with their GDP. On top of all that, all of this taxation is still not going to solve the problem of so many problems, because now they're bringing in a new tax, the capital gains. No matter which way you look at this government, it is just completely not making any sense. Because in honest to God's truth, what we need is people that are going to lead us to prosperity, not lie to us, not censor us, and not hide the truth. That's my opinion. You can leave me your opinion down in the comments. I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening, and I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this channel with your friends. I'll talk to you next time.